For thousands of years, men have been looked to as a source of strength, and since this time, nothing has really changed. The modern man in today's world has been shaped and molded into something that is hardly recognizable as a source of strength and toughness. How many times do you catch yourself when you're out in public apologizing to people for things that don't require an apology? Most guys don't want to admit this, but if you took the modern man and tossed him into the Amazon rainforest to fend for himself, he might only last a couple of weeks at best. And in today's world, men no longer need to go out and hunt for food. And there's really no need to chop firewood or do other things like that with your hands. Technology is great, but it's a double-edged sword, and one of the major effects that it has is making men weak. The truth is that many of the things that men used to have to do traditionally, they don't have to do anymore. And these days, women are working and making lots of money now. So most men just end up sitting in a chair eating pizza and watching TV all day. But the good news is that this is all reversible, meaning men who have fallen into a weak state of mind can be restored back to their former glory. And what you're about to learn are a few things that make men look weak, and many guys do these things without even realizing it. And you all know that it's impossible to fix something if you don't know that it was broke. Number 1, never having an opinion. How many times have you found yourself constantly nodding your head and agreeing with everything that somebody is saying to you, even if you completely disagree with them? The truth is that we all have an opinion, whether we realize it or not, but the difference is that many men are just too afraid to stand up for it and disagree with somebody. Whenever you choose to disagree with someone, it is an instant clash or conflict. And what you're doing is basically devaluing a belief that they have. What if you were telling your buddy how good looking your new girlfriend is and he just looked at you dead in the eye and said, "Bro, she's really not that hot"? You would most likely feel a little bit angry for a split second because he is basically challenging your belief. But later what will happen is that you will end up respecting him for standing up for his opinion and disagreeing with you. And we will end up respecting someone even more if they disagree with us on something and in the end they actually ended up being right and we were wrong. Now, the reason why so many guys take the weak way out and agree with everybody else's opinion is because they are too afraid of conflict and people not liking them. Once you stop disagreeing with everybody and standing up for your own opinions and beliefs, but at the end of the day, people will respect you and you'll be seen as a man with opinions who has a strong mind. Number 2, too afraid to take risks. Every single problem any man has ever had with females can be traced back to an inability to take risks. But it actually goes much deeper than that. An inability to take risks is even at the core of success and why most men don't have much of it. Something you have to understand is that everything in life is a risk-reward proposition. Sure, if you approach the girl that you like, she might tell you that you're ugly and walk away laughing at you. And then you will most likely feel like crap for a little bit afterwards, but that was a risk that you had to take. Anything that involves some calculated risk has the potential to pay you a huge reward. And this could be something as simple as talking to girls or something as complex as negotiating a new salary at your job. And it can even be as subtle as standing up for your opinion while you are with a group of friends. Now, the difference between men who are weak-minded and those who have a sound, strong mind oftentimes comes down to whether or not you are able to take risks. And the less that you're able to take risks, whether it's going after money and resources or even something like approaching a girl that you like, the less successful you will be at all of it. So never, ever, ever be afraid to take a calculated risk. Now, next up is the third subtle sign that a man just might be a little bit too weak, and it is not being able to interact with beautiful women. Now, one of the fastest ways to spot a man who is weak-minded is to simply watch how he behaves around attractive women. Now, if he behaves in a way that is indifferent, or in a way that shows that he views them as neither better nor worse than himself, then he has passed the test. But if he behaves in a way that shows that he's placing them on a pedestal, or if he acts overly rude or dismissive or closed off, these are all signs of weakness and he will have failed the test. Many guys are like this because they grew up without a male role model, such as a father or a big brother, and others are like this because they spend too much time on certain websites that aren't good for them. So what's the best way to solve this problem or to squash this unwanted weakness that we might have? And the answer is exposing yourself. Spend more time around and talking to women in general, and you will realize that they are just like everybody else with the same insecurities, the same flaws, and similar ways of thinking. Now, next up is the fourth thing that makes men appear weak, and it is when he is ashamed to be a man. Would you believe that many guys are actually ashamed to be a man and to do masculine things? With people using terms like manspreading to bring shame to the natural behavior of men, it makes sense why so many guys are actually afraid to be a man. One of the biggest mistakes that men make without even knowing it, that makes them look weak, is being ashamed to behave like the man that they were born as. As men, we should never apologize for being who we are or being a strong leader. People might complain when we spread our legs open super wide while we're sitting down, but we're still going to do it because we're men, and we don't owe anybody an apology for being what we were born to be. Now, next up is the fifth thing that makes many men appear weak, and it is being passive aggressive. One of the biggest mistakes that men unknowingly make that makes them appear weak around other people is being passive aggressive. Because when you're passive aggressive, what you're really doing is hiding your true feelings and behaving in an indirect way that is not really true to how you feel. This is almost like when your girlfriend is super angry at you, and instead of being direct and telling you exactly what she's mad at, when you ask her what's wrong, she just says nothing with a snarky attitude. Traditionally, men tend to be direct or to the point. And being a strong-minded man doesn't mean going around yelling at somebody when you're angry. It simply means being direct and handling conflict directly, rather than beating around the bush. Now, next up, we have the sixth thing that makes men appear weak that you might not even know that you're doing, and it is not taking responsibility. How many of us know that one guy who is constantly wrong but will never actually admit it? Every day, most of us do at least one thing wrong or cut somebody off in traffic because we were angry about something in our own life. And one of the major signs that a man is weak-minded is an inability to take responsibility for his actions, or more specifically, for when he makes mistakes. You see, we are only human and we all make mistakes, but what separates the men from the boys is how we handle those mistakes. Weak-minded men tend to blame other people or circumstances for their mistakes, while strong-minded men own up to things that they've done wrong. Both men and women will have so much more respect for a man who can admit when he's wrong, own up to it, and move on with his life. This has been 6 hidden things that make men look weak, and the less that you do them, the better off you will be. And if you guys are interested in money, be sure to check out my channel Business Secrets. The link is in the description. And with that said, until next time, thanks for watching.